sorry about freaking you out in the title, but I did get robbed. Not now. We're perfectly safe. This is a story time video. I just wanted to grab your attention. Sorry for the clickbait, okay? It is not a clickbait. We actually did get robbed and I'm going to talk about it. So it's a story time. I just didn't put that on the title, but you know, come on. Every other YouTuber does it, so let's get to it. So this is a story time about how my family got robbed when this was actually a very terrifying experience for me, and I'll explain all of that. So we were living in Sri Lanka at the time, and I was 15. I was around the time this happened, I was 14 still, okay? So I was 14 and it was the year before that we actually moved to Australia. Anyway, hopefully I'm in focus. So, to give you a little background information, the area that we used to live in was, I don't know, kind of, it was my parents' hometown. It was a little kind of like a town, but a village kind of situation, and it was our house was right by a huge lake, and we had a two-story house with a huge wall around it, around the garden, and a giant gate with a huge lock on it. So we thought we were safe, right? Back in the day, I was very scared to sleep by myself, so our house had 2 bedrooms downstairs, the master bedroom and a spare bedroom that was like mine, but my mom used to sleep with me in that bed, and then in the master bedroom my dad would sleep with my brother. They had a double bed, we had a double bed. I think they had a king bed and we had a double bed. Anyway, so upstairs we had 2 bedrooms as well. One was my dad's office and the other one was a spare, like a guest room. And there was a bathroom right in the middle, same style, downstairs, living room, dining room, master bedroom, and then you go through this little passage, go into my room, and then next to my room was the other bathroom. And then through there, if you go up, it's upstairs. If you go through, it's the kind of like this little area, and then next to that was the kitchen, and we did have a backyard and a front yard. So that's the overall thing. So this particular day, I think the next day was the full moon day. So for the full moon day is a public holiday in Sri Lanka every month, because majority are Buddhist people, and it's a Buddhist tradition. That day we're supposed to just be very, that day is just to collect merits basically. Go to temple, do prayers, do good deeds, observe, you know, Buddhist Sil it's called, and just be like a good person. A lot of people are vegetarian just on that day, but anyway. So that was the day after this particular night basically. So everything was fine. My mom was actually getting ready to go to the temple the next day as well to observe Sil, which is like a whole day program. You're basically in the temple doing all religious activities, and she was gonna go with my Nana, I think. So she had her clothes laid out, white clothes, and all her jewelry taken out, because you don't wear jewelry, no perfume, no hair accessories, nothing. You just literally wear white, put your hair up, and there's other little bits that you wear, and you go to the temple that way. So all her jewelry and everything was in the master bedroom where she usually keeps it. And I had a massive fever around this time with a really stuffy nose. I was really sick, so I was very uncomfortable this particular night. Went to bed at the usual time, which was around 9:30, 10. My dad always go to bed really late, like I'm talking like, you know, 1, 2 a.m. because he has his own business, and he did have his own business in Sri Lanka, so he works with like overseas countries, so the time difference and everything. Anyway, so we all went to bed, and I remember really well because there was a little light coming through from the full moon into our room, and the window the window from my room is facing the living room, so it's not really facing the outside, but we had this little pond kind of indoor little pergola area, which was kind of like the sunlight would come through from that, and that kind of came to my room at an angle, so that would directly hit the clock where it was on the wall. And I remember it was like 3:15 in the morning. Anyway, I woke up, I had a really stuffy nose, and my mouth was dry and everything, so I was just like struggling to breathe, and my mom was sleeping next to me, and so I'm just laying there until I fall back asleep, and all of a sudden I see this shadow. So my bed was this way, and if I'm staring at the window, which is right opposite me, I can see through the door, which was on the side, to the staircase. So I can, if somebody puts a light on, I can see if somebody's on the staircase or going up and down, like through that way. And I was like, I saw this shadow, and I'm like, what's that? Like, if my dad was walking around the house, he would put a light on, you know. But then there's like this flashlight. I saw this, like a light from a torch reflecting on the glass, and I'm like, whoa, I think somebody's in the house, okay? And I was like, my whole body just went numb and cold, and I was like, oh my god, there's somebody inside the house. Okay, I'm a very fearful person. Like, I'm so scared of a lot of things, and after this incident I was just a mess. Anyway, so I literally grabbed the bed sheet that I had over me, and I was just like doing this because I had a stuffy nose. My breathing was really loud, right? So if anyone was around me, they would know that I was actually awake, and if I accidentally sneezed, that would be a disaster. So I was literally just like covering my mouth and my nose and trying to like watch what is happening, right? And oh my god, guys, I was so scared. I can't even remember that moment because it was really scary. And then I saw the flashlight, and then I saw this person, this shadow of a person that looked really large, like tall, kind of like big built, and he was going upstairs, right? So when I saw him going upstairs, I like, you know, I was poking my mom. I'm like, Mom, wake up, there's somebody in the house. And she thought I talk in my sleep a lot, and I get scared for no reason at night, and she thought it was one of those, and she's like, oh, just go back to sleep, you're fine. And I'm like, no, like, I'm serious, there's somebody in the house. And she said, no, it's probably your dad just lurking around. I'm like, it is not Dad. He would not have a torch. He would not just walk around like a thief inside the house, right? And oh, before I actually poked my mom, oh yeah, a lot happened before this. So sorry, just backtrack a little bit. So after I saw the torchlight, I heard footsteps going into our dining room where we had a water filter, okay? And I heard the water filter being operated. I don't know if he was drinking water out of it, like, which is weird. You know, you're here to do a robbery, why are you drinking water? But when I actually woke up, before I did hear somebody pour water into a glass. I have very good hearing, by the way, and this was in the dead of the night, so you know, you'll hear everything. But that was coming from the kitchen, which was further away. But then I heard the water filter, and that's when I knew, that's when I kind of thought, okay, maybe it's Dad, you know, he drinks out of the water filter. But then I heard footsteps coming back towards my room, and then I saw a head poking, right? And I was like, that's when I actually grabbed my bedsheet and then like covered my mouth and stuff. And then I saw this guy poking his head in, looking around, and then you know, flashing his torchlight everywhere. And he, at one point, he flashed it towards the bed to make sure that we were sleeping. So I closed my eyes because I could see the light going, and then I saw him. I thought that he was done flashing the light, so I kind of opened my eyes to see, and then I saw him flash the light to my mom's neck to see if she had a necklace on or something, I'm assuming, but she had already taken her jewelry off, and it was in the master bedroom. Anyway, and then he like literally came into the room and opened my cupboard and literally was like putting his hand in, and then, you know, looking under the clothes, flashing the light and everything. He even grabbed a packet of pads that I had there and looked inside to see if there was jewelry in there. Like, who hides their jewelry inside a packet of pads? I don't know. Anyway, but funny thing, we had a little bedside cupboard with like all kinds of junk in there. He opened the cupboard and he freaked out and closed it because it was like torn books and whatever, and he just couldn't bother to go through it. That's where my mom had hidden most of her jewelry. It was behind all the rubbish that we had in there. He opened it, got kind of disappointed, oh my god, I'm not gonna touch this mess, closed it, and then looked around. I had a computer, and he looked around like the drawers where I had my stationery and everything. He couldn't find anything in my room, so he just went back out. And then after that, only he actually decided to go upstairs, right? So that's when I poked my mom and then woke her up. And then she's like, are you sure? Are you sure it's somebody? I'm like, okay, why don't you just be quiet and listen? And then we were both listening, and she's like, oh yeah, somebody's upstairs, right? So my mom is literally the bravest person ever, okay, for doing this. She actually got off the bed. I'm like, don't leave me. It's like, do not climb down, do not follow me, stay there, okay? And I'm like shaking. I'm like, no, don't leave me, don't go, like, you know, you can't catch a thief. And she's like, I'm just going to the dad's room. I'm like, okay, cool. And she literally just went to dad's room, and then apparently she woke him up. And my brother was sleeping through the whole thing, by the way. He had no idea. He was little, so you know. And my dad woke up, and then my brother is really into cricket, so there was his cricket bat somewhere there. So apparently my dad grabbed it, and that was the only thing, because knives or whatever other things were in the kitchen, which is so far away, and this was the only thing that my dad could do some harm with, okay, or self-defense or whatever. And so he grabbed that, and it was like, you know, a normal bat, which is pretty heavy. And so he grabbed that, but then he was actually gonna go upstairs and face the thief. But then my mom was like, no, no, don't go, don't go. What if he has a weapon? What if he has a gun? What if he has a knife? Like, you know, don't go. And they were just waiting by the, not by the staircase, but like around there. And then you literally see the person facing the wall and then coming down the stairs at an angle, just so we wouldn't see his face, right? This guy was so bloody fast. He literally just jumped the stairs and ran through the back door. Okay, my mom was screaming, saying, oh my god, there's somebody in our house, and blah 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 blah. Like, she was screaming for like 5 minutes, like really loudly. My dad chased after him, and my dad said that it was really crazy because he actually jumped our like 10 feet wall. We had this massive wall with like unassisted, he actually climbed onto it and literally jumped. And my dad was like, that guy had to be in like an army or something. Like it was really crazy what he did. So he jumped to our neighbor's garden and then literally ran across, and then he just disappeared, right? It was crazy, okay? Now at this time it was like probably like 4:15, 4:30, and the sun was coming up and everything, and we were all pretty shaken. My brother woke up, and you know, we were just going crazy basically. And we realized that he had taken mobile phones, and the year before we went to Thailand, and we had some expensive watches and stuff that we bought from Thailand. He had taken those, some of my mom's jewelry, which was in a little container, and he had taken this other little container, but it was a gift from my uncle, and it had a little ballerina on top, so if you open the drawer it makes a sound and the ballerina starts dancing. So he obviously knew this and he didn't open it, but he had taken it to the back, so everything was in the kitchen. So I think what he did was, we realized later that he got into the house through the kitchen window. So he had used some tools to open the little the window that we had, and the metal was actually bent, so he used full force to open that, and then from the window you literally climb into the sink area. So you know, then off that is there was a little kind of like a kitchen island table kind of, so he had put like jewelry boxes and things that he suspected would be like we would have kept jewelry and other things. He had brought those and had kept them there to maybe rummage through and see what valuables he can find. My mom's purses. He couldn't get into the big cupboard that my parents have in the master bedroom, so he just grabbed whatever that was in the dressing table. And he couldn't take a lot, but he did take some, you know. And if he did get into that bedside cupboard and went through the mess, he would definitely find most of my mom's jewelry that was there. And it was pretty bizarre. So anyway, after this my dad obviously called the police, and the police came at like 6 a.m. And they took fingerprints and this and that, and the neighbors came, and neighbors were like, oh my god, it's so funny, we didn't even hear you scream. I'm like, really though? Like, you know, the houses are pretty close to each other, and my mom was screaming for like 5-10 minutes really loudly. Anybody would hear that around that time of early morning, you know, but apparently nobody heard anything. And but then our neighbor guy was saying that, oh, he did hear somebody was running through their front yard. And I'm like, you didn't wake up to check what was going on? And even at that time my mom was screaming, and he apparently didn't hear it either. So anyway, people were pretty shitty at that time and didn't really want to help out or anything. So police did the investigations, and I was later on really freaked out. So I had PTSD for about a year, and I am still scared of the darkness. I still to this day will not sleep in the darkness, and my husband's very understanding from the get-go. He hates sleeping with the light on, but he got used to the fact that I sleep with the light on, with the lampshade. And then for my birthday a couple of years ago, he bought me a Himalayan salt lamp, which has a very dim light, but it's enough for me to like subside my fears at night, and I can get a good night's sleep. So he got used to that, and since I got pregnant, I don't think the baby likes the light, so I can't sleep at all if there's a light on. So you know, I would tell my husband, please wait until I drift off into my sleep and then turn off the light, then I wouldn't be like freaking out. Otherwise the baby would be moving a lot. So we've been doing that, and in the past couple of days, for some reason, kind of my fears came back, and so we've kept the light on for the past 2 days as well, and he was like very understanding. So you know, it caused a lot of damage to me, because before that incident I used to love darkness. I would just sit there because it's pretty calming. And yeah, so after this I would not stay home by myself even in the daytime. Mind you, I was 14, 15 at the time, and for a long time, for a few months, for about 5-6 months, we all slept in one room, and I was in the middle, and my mom was this side, my dad was this side, and my brother was in the corner, and I would stay awake. My dad had to hire 2 security guards who would just roam around the house all through the night in shifts, just because of me, because I would not sleep at all. I didn't get a wink of sleep. And that particular year is when our big grade 11 exam is, which decides whether we are eligible to go into our advanced level in school. Since we were planning to go to Australia, I really needed those grades anyway, I needed to do well in that exam to have good grades so I could get enrolled in a secondary school in Australia. So it was pretty important, and I wouldn't stay up, I wouldn't want to stay up studying because I was so scared. Before that I would just stay up studying by myself or wake up early morning, like it didn't really matter, but my mom would have to stay up with me or wake up early at 3, 4 in the morning to study. Yeah, it was pretty horrible, and until we moved to Australia I didn't feel comfortable sleeping at all, and it was really, really bad. So yeah, that was the aftermath. Police then after a few weeks, police actually took me. This actually made things worse for me, for my fear. Police asked my parents if I can come into the police station to identify few people, and I was shit scared. I was like, no, like if they get out of jail they're gonna come find me and kill me. I am not gonna go identify people. But then my parents convinced me. They were like, you're doing good. If you identify, they'll be in jail longer and this and that. So I did go to the police station, and it was the scariest day of my life after the actual incident. And there were about 6 people that I had to identify, but none of them were the person who actually came to our house. And then we moved to Australia and all that, and then years later we found out the person who actually did it, and we knew this person. We knew him from childhood, and it was pretty bad. I think he had like a drug addiction or something. He had robbed a couple of other places on the same day, and I actually noticed a couple of people lurking around our house the evening off, and I told my dad about it, and he looked around to see who it was, couldn't see. But yeah, that they were just like, and this person knew our house. That's why he was so confident walking from room to room. And a few years later he actually passed away with unfortunate incident, and I feel really bad. I just yeah, I just don't understand. Addiction can people make into like monsters, you'll rob your own people, you'll kill and rape your own people. Like, you just don't have any, you don't know what you're doing. All you want is money to get drugs, and it's really sad. But it was just, it made a lot of damage for my mental health. And even my mom, even after we moved to Australia, she actually got really scared one night and freaked all of us out. Yeah, so it kind of shook us all, and we were pretty scared, but props to my mom. She was a brave woman that day, and she did amazing, and I was a bloody mess after that. So that whole year was kind of like a blur. Like, it was just crazy. Anyway, that's our story of getting robbed back in Sri Lanka. This was 15 years ago. Wow, crazy. And to this day, 15 years later, I still remember every little detail. That's how scary it is. Anyway, hope you guys liked my story time. I don't have a lot of story times but I would love to do these because people have told me that I'm a good storyteller. So if you guys like them, I'll try to remember some more stories and tell you. So yeah, until then, thank you so much for watching, and please don't forget to subscribe. And being 36 weeks pregnant, getting so close to everything, I might do a pregnancy update next week. I have a doctor's appointment this week, so a vlog will be coming this week also. Yeah, we'll see how things go. These kind of videos are the easiest to do at the moment. I do want to keep bringing out content. I don't want to disappear, so I hope you like them. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. See you next time. Bye.